not once a week, but like we went to have, eat at the Ocean. But I had not been to the movies since before the pandemic. So on Tuesdays, $6 and there's nobody. So I went at 11 o'clock and, oh, it was wonderful.
It used to be $5.
What?
It used to be $5 pre-pandemic.
But now I think it's $16.
16?
16, I'm talking, they're having a special. It's 15, 12 or $15.
I don't know. I joined the movie club, so it's $9.99 a month and you get one free ticket. Yeah, one free ticket per month. So that's my one time a month.
Oh,
And
you
you go
know,
at night because I know it is much more expensive, so.
well, you know, Brenda, I had all these gift cards to send them work that I didn't use because of the pandemic.
Hello, Mr. Dula.
Hello, this is Chris. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, I can hear you, yes.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Right. That's why they say don't show up late. Okay, so today is August 8th, 2022, and we'll start the advisory meeting. And so I guess the first item is I'm calling the meeting to order. And I guess the second item is we need to approve the minutes of the meeting. Have you guys had a chance to take a look at the meeting minutes? Are there any changes? If nobody sees anything that is missing, would somebody like to make a motion to accept the?
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
And second,
Very good. So I think it passes. So now we move on to item number 3, which is citizens' comment.
We do not have any citizen comments.
Okay, so then we move on to item number 4. So we're gonna hear about the book talk by the book talk program.
And that's going to be Ms. Shepherd?
Yes,
She's going to be the group.
I didn't know if I can.
However, you can.
I'm very informed.
Okay, all right. Well, thank y'all for having me here. I am Suzanne Shepherd, and I'm president of the Valley Zoological Board at Brownsville Zoo this year. And I'm here because I wrote a children's book named Rocket the Space Giraffe. And I was inspired to write the book by one of the amazing giraffes that we had at the Brownsville Zoo named Rocket. I had a really fun experience feeding her and interacting with her. I just think she's super special. And then on World Giraffe Day, I also went back and visited with the giraffes. And it was there that I learned through a keeper cat about the fact that there are only 110,000 giraffes that are left in Africa, which is a 30% decline over the last 3 decades. So I was inspired to write the book so that it would be both fun and informative. And the first part of the book, I don't know, am I supposed to read the book, or I guess I'll just summarize it for y'all? Okay, the first part of the book is a children's rhyming book, and I was lucky enough to work with a woman who's out of London, and she's an award-winning illustrator. And so, in fact, I'll just hand her the book. Sure. She's an award-winning illustrator, and she was a lot of fun to work with, and she really liked, getting in the project. And the second part, so that we bring awareness to animals and the plight of animals, I worked with the Gladys Porter Zoo, and it has a special section about the real Rocket at the zoo and what she's like. Hopefully everybody can come visit her and feed her. And also it has information about giraffes and lemurs, because in the book, in the rhyming book, it's Rocket, the space giraffe, goes up to explore the moon and the stars in a rocket ship with her best friend, Cosmo, who is a ringtail lemur at the zoo. And so along the way, they not only have a lot of fun, they also learn to follow their dreams, which is what we're trying to teach the children. So it has information in the book about the giraffes and lemurs as well. So all the proceeds from the book go to Gladys Porter Zoo, and they specifically go to feed Rocket and all of our animal friends. So our goal, and the zoo worked with this in conjunction, we all worked on it together. The goal is not only so that we sell the book, but also so that people come to Brownsville and people also go to the zoo and meet Rocket. So that's why we wrote the book, and hopefully y'all will get a chance to look at it. I know how important the library is to children and to the community. So I just wanted to share it with you and Cynthia as well. And, you know, anything I can do, if y'all ever have any programs and you want me to speak or to read. I had a lot of fun at the zoo this weekend. We had Kids Appreciation Day, and I got to read the book to the kids, which was a lot of fun. I learned that they probably know a lot more about the animals than I did. One little boy knew all about lemurs. So anyway, I just wanted to say that it's here, and I would love it if somehow it could benefit y'all as well.
Is there a way in which we can get it on calendar?
Kayla is our librarian in charge of youth services. She's down there. And so, we make arrangements and we can have you during one of our story times. So,
Oh, I would love that. That'd be fun. So, I have some cards, so I'll make sure I give you the cards.
And where are your books for purchase?
Okay, right now the books are on Amazon. We also have them at the zoo's gift store. I'm also working to try to get with Ingrid Spark a hard copy. So we're working on that too.
You might want to talk to the Brownsville Historical Association. They might want to sell them for you.
Okay, well, Cynthia had mentioned that to me. This is all a little bit new. It's my first book. And so, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Every time I go by the zoo, there are a lot more people there on the weekends. I see cars, and that's fantastic.
We've really had a good attendance. I think during the pandemic, last year, where I think everybody realized how much they missed it. And so, and there have been a lot of schools
Yes.
that are going, and that's been wonderful too.
Thank you very much for coming and
Thank
sharing
you.
this. This is a wonderful project.
Thank you so much. I think this is a very popular way of promoting Brownsville.
Okay.
Well, I guess we move on to item number 5, discussion on library hours.
Good afternoon. This is my item, and it's very dear to our heart for many reasons. 2 years ago, the hours of operation were different between Maine and South. We were able to make them equal at a total of 67 hours per week, same hours of operation both at Maine and South. And recently, our staff brought up the possibility of perhaps on Sunday opening sooner and closing sooner. Because right now our hours of operation are 12 to 9, Monday to Thursday. Friday and Saturday is 10 to 6. And then Sunday was a little bit odd at 1 to 8. And so our staff had noticed, because they work on Sunday, they noticed that usually from 6 to 8 on Sundays, we're very limited for utilization. And so they asked us, you know, and we're trying to empower staff to speak up and to let us know, you know, what else, you know, they can feel comfortable talking to us. So they brought it to their attention to that. Is a possible way that you can do a study to see if we can change the hours of operation to not only help us leave earlier, because there's nobody here for the most part compared to the rest of the hours. And so we tried. And so also another trigger that helped us is that we have 3 types of hours of operation: 10 to 9, 10 to 6, and 1 to 8. So we did a study with our MAT team, which is an analysis team, and based on the reports after we opened, we noticed that indeed from 6 to 8 on Sundays, it's just very low percentage of utilization. So what I am proposing, we have the results already, but I need to feel comfortable so we can approve it. Is what I'm proposing is we have 2 hours of operation, Monday to Thursday, 10 to 9, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 10 to 6. So that way it's less confusion on our patrons. It's just 2 hours. It's less burden on our staff. And the good news is we're going to have 1 more hour of operation. Instead of 67 hours, it'll be 68 hours. So I guess it's a win-win situation. But I would like to see what your opinion on that.
I totally agree with you, because usually on weekends, it's family time that they're home, and you don't have very much fun people. So, and I totally agree, because y'all are doing a fantastic job. So I'm in agreement with that.
Again, it's a win-win situation for everybody, our staff, total alignment, everybody, no matter who it is, can participate in any program, can speak up if they see an issue. No longer do we have the authority control, like, what is the command and control? So they came up, and you know what, yeah, let's try it. Data, so we're also data driven, they look at the data, and the eye test said it was not that busy, but the data said that indeed, I don't know the percentages, but the initial report is that from 6 to 8 is basically not that you're like compared to the morning part. So staff feel that they empowered, they feel comfortable that they made up an opinion, and hopefully with your approval, we go forward. There's less confusion on the patrons because it's just only 2 hours of operation and 1 more hour of increase. The question you might say, is it going to be a burden on our staff? Our staff is still here anyways because of 8-hour shift, so it doesn't add any burden, but it helps everybody.
What time, Juan, on Saturdays and Sundays, and they were here, from 5 to 6, you really have a lot of people during that time too? I don't think so.
Friday and Saturday for sure.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But on Sundays, no. So maybe trial and error, quit at 5 and pick up an hour, for kids that need to come earlier. They're going to school, or split up the time, because there's no sense, I don't know how you all feel.
Has there been another time, Saturdays?
No, other than
always
that,
been that one.
always been that way. I think reducing hours to 10 will be more 10 to 5 will be more confusing. And it was the staff to stay 30 minutes later to tidy up and everything. So I think 6 o'clock is still good because there's two, at the last minute, people come in and check out the videos. So I think they're already used to 6 o'clock. It's just the only thing that's going to change is Sunday, instead of from 1 to 8 is 10 to 6. So we're reducing hours. I don't feel comfortable reducing hours. And just adding, I think, is much better. It's a good.
I think the Sunday is good. A lot. I wanted to actually go with my son on Sunday morning sometimes, and it's like, oh, forget it. I don't until 1.
And Saturday, people come in at the last minute to check out the videos or last minute readings before Sunday.
I'm agree.
Again, the key thing is Sunday 10 to 6 instead of 1 to 8. Shifting and adding 1 hour. And it's a win-win situation. So again, we thought about it. The data says it otherwise, but I feel more comfortable. I'm a math person. So next month, I'll tell you, yay, I'm comfortable with this. And then we can start, with your permission, fiscal year October 1st. That way we can report into the state that we're adding 1 hour of service. And we have 3 weeks to announce to our patrons the change of hours. So that everything can be planned that way. But I get a consensus that you okay with this.
I think it's a good idea. I'm happy that this whole month.
They work very hard. Do you want us to make a motion to make it?
At the moment, I just want you to ponder it in the next month, and in the next month, I don't want to change the agenda next month. There's still time we can put it. Yeah.
Well, you just let us know if, and how it works out. I think that's great, because you all are here all the time.
Thank you for your support.
Well, thank you. So now we're going to move on to item number 6, discussion and action on updated library policies. So this will require a vote, right?
Yes, and let me remind you before Brenda starts. We had a library already approved by the board, but it was not you. But then something happened, so we had to go back. So it would look better if you approve it. And again, it's just minor cosmetic changes, some minor changes. We're not going to go to you guys got a copy of the policy. I don't want to take a lot of time. Brendan's just going to discuss the changes. And I think it's best if we haven't revised it, we've amended it since 1994, but this is a total revision besides much better looking.
As Juan mentioned, the last established one was 1994. So till now, it's been not a math person, but it's been a pretty long time, right? Since we have an official one.
In 28 years, that's the year I was born.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
So it's very much needed, it's overdue already, so. I'm gonna go to the next one. So as you probably saw the slide, as it was emailed to you as well, the main things that we focused on was our mission, vision, and functions. Especially because the main point is bringing it up to date for the current library practices. So our mission, vision, and functions, it's more geared to what we represent right now, and not 1994, right? And so essentially, we want to make it to where we made it into where all of those focus on the community and bringing them in, and the difference, because 1994 thoughts and beliefs were different from what they are now. So essentially, it's about being diverse and having inclusion into our libraries, and of course, still maintaining some of our basic functions, but also incorporating the new ones. In 1994, we didn't have any electronic materials. We didn't have the ebooks, the audios, and all of that. So that, of course, got brought into the list and is now mentioned in our policy, as well as makerspace. I mean, that one just got created a year ago, right? And so we needed to go ahead and add it into the policies because that, of course, does incorporate different equipment that is used. This is hands-on material that our patrons will be using. And so we want to make sure that there's also rules because patrons are going to be hands-on in the makerspace lab. So that, of course, got brought into it. And another one was notary services. That started also less than a year ago. So now it is mentioned within our policy manual. Our fee schedules was updated because, again, we have new material that is now available for checkout. Back then, we didn't have our playaways. We didn't have our launch pads. We didn't have the DVDs, the Blu-rays, all of the CDs. So none of that was included in the past, so we needed to bring it up because even though, of course, all of our services are free, if there's any damages, if there's any lost materials, if there's any overdues, we had to go ahead and make sure that we were transparent with our patrons, and it's now in our written form, and so those fees are now included in there as well. Another difference that we made our refund policy. In the past, we had it where they have 120 days to go ahead and bring back the material and get some form of refund. We've gone ahead and modernized it more to where it's now 30 days because that is more of the practice nowadays with any store that you return anything to. So we said, well, let's follow the same model. And so that has been updated as well. The meeting room application, that was, now we include Southmost, where before it wasn't included. Now we go ahead and patrons have the ability to go ahead and do reservations for this room that we're in, our multi-purpose room, as well as our classrooms. And our classrooms can be rented out individually as one classroom or combined. And so that was also added into our application, updated application, as well as there was a minor adjustment to our main meeting room to go ahead and match at least one of the prices here as well. And then there is our material selection, which is basically our collection development. What are the rules that are now exist? What is it that we look at now when we go ahead and order our books or order any of our other items that are part of our collection? And so all of that, as it's mentioned there, it's more towards usage of our modern library policy. Again, with the main focus being on inclusion and diversity. And that was basically the main updates. Most of the other stuff just remained the same. It was just basically modified because as Juan mentioned, we did some amendments along the way based, to fit the needs of our patrons. So those were just updated here. But this that is mentioned there, that was the things that were more of a focus on. So I don't know if you have any questions.
When you see updating it, or how you review the updates already in place. They're 28 years. Right?
Yeah, for the upcoming future, we want to do it every 5 years.
Yeah. And the question before that asked is why now? I cannot say other than this been changed administration. For one reason or the other, it didn't happen. And we started with top, but we made a decision, we put it in our work plan, and we will take the move back on into it.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Yes.
So So this is an action item. You're asking this board to take action?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and the only reason I say is because, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't remember, I don't remember this being discussed before, and I guess typically I just like to have stuff in writing, if that's okay. You know, what specifically was changed. Typically, what I've seen when policy manuals are updated, sometimes there's a summary at the beginning of what the changes were, or there's a copy that shows red line changes. I just personally, because I'm new to the board, I would prefer this if I could see what the changes were in writing before taking action on it, if that's what we're being asked to do.
I think the old policies were not set, we can send it to you. And then one that we can table it, it's a long, I don't know, 70 pages or so.
He's having trouble hearing.
Okay, can you say it?
We can table the item if you would like, to give you some time to read the old one. We can send you the old one. So you can take a
Well,
look
but
at
what I
the
was
old
saying
one.
is, or if there's a, is there a red line version? Do you know what I mean? To show what the changes were? Because it sounded as if these were the main changes you discussed, but then you were also saying there was some other additional changes that,
Yes,
where-
there's a red line version of it that we have on file.
can we see that?
Yes. We don't have it at this very second. We would have to get it to you.
Would you like to move to table the item?
I would, if that's okay. You know, I don't want to stall this, but it's just that so I'm familiar. And that way I'm not reading one original one and one new one, trying to figure out what exactly changed. But just having the red line one would be good, just so we can see specifically what was changed before taking action on it.
Okay, then go ahead and make the motion.
I make a motion that we table the item until we go ahead and review what the changes were.
All right, so the item has been tabled. So next meeting.
All right, so we'll go ahead and table the updated library policy for our next meeting. We'll take action on that. We're gonna go ahead and move on to item 7, which is a library report. Basically, our library report will start off with the marquee update. Just to let you know, our marquee over at the main branch library has already been installed and is functional. The one here at Southmost, we're still on hold with it. It is, we've gone through the process. The city has done what we can. Right now, it's on PUB's hands, and so we're waiting to hear back from them for any further information, so when we can get ourselves operational there.
The city did our part as far as the paperwork sent by CMO office and my office to PUB. My understanding as of this afternoon, the PUB is sitting on this, and hopefully pretty soon we can get this rectified.
What do you mean they're sitting on it?
It's a paperwork involved in the city. I don't know when they received it. They have it, in other words, it's in their hands as far as when they can come and put the actual meter in the class. When they received it, I don't know, but we sent it their way.
It's been a long time since you sent it.
The last time it was to the CMO office. This time it's not on our hands.
But timeline, when was it that we?
Oh, about a month and a half or so. Yeah. But they're all standing, and I hope that by next meeting we can show that then the both are functioning. We've got a lot of compliments how they look and much lower. So it's
We
just a
do
matter
need
of,
lights and like.
you say?
No, I said we just need the lights.
Yes,
and
the power,
showcase
yeah,
it.
we need the power.
All right, we'll be moving on to the Southmost mural. Our mural has officially begun. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at
I
it
love
yet.
it.
But she started last week, and so it's ongoing, little by little. Each day she comes in and she's adding a piece at a time. So hopefully, soon we'll be able to feature the whole mural as a whole, and we are planning hopefully to do like a grand video, even though hard to cover up, right? But
But yeah, she's very excited. She's from here, and she has a passion passion. And she is gonna be instilling a little bit of all the winners, if you will, into our four walls. So it's gonna be a combination of the three different participants, right? A lot of colorful.
Very colorful. It's very nice.
All right, and our services.
Okay, so with library services, we're gonna start with youth services. I am the youth services, one of the youth services librarians. My name is Kayla Trevino. So just to kind of start us off, I remember last time we spoke, I was presenting our goals for the summer reading program, and I'm happy to say that we met most of them. So our goal was to have 700 registrations, and we had 827 registrations. I wanted half of the reading logs back at 350, and we pretty much nailed it. We had 410 reading logs returned to us, which is the hard part, you know. And then at our summer bash, I was hoping for 400 people, 400 attendees, and we actually had 823 attendees at our summer bash. The only one that we fell a little bit short was having the same 50 patrons attending at least 5 programs. We had roughly 45 patrons who were regulars and would come to all the programs. So, and in case you don't remember how we kept track of that, were these little tags.
Make a space. Further this class will begin immediately in front of the pavilion. Thank you.
We had these little tags that we were giving
Buenas
out.
tardes. El espacio va a tener manualidades con cuentos perlados, con diseños únicos. Si gusta pasar para enfrente del pabellón, ahí estaremos esperándolos. Gracias.
So we had the tags that we were passing out at each of our programs, and if you were to collect 5 of those, you would get entered into an additional raffle, and we had about 45 patrons entered into that raffle. So overall, we're really happy with the numbers. If Maribel, if you want to start scrolling, we have some pictures to show you guys. On the top left, that was the Magic Reading Show. That was amazing. I'm like, my mind was blown. He's so good. And then we had like the zoo that's over in the top right. And then we had some kids petting the snake there at the bottom. All the artworks that you see there were from the art contest. Moving along, we had like some activities outside. We had the Exploration Theater. The Exploration Theater was actually a field trip from one of the elementary schools from their summer reading program. We had story times. And then these are some pictures from Maine. We kicked off our rock garden. So that's what you see in the bottom left. We had, those are actually staff rocks that we painted as examples for the kids, but then they loved it. They wanted to take the rocks home. So we gave them a small rock that they could take home, and then they left their bigger rocks behind for the rock garden. And then these are pictures from the summer bash. Over on the right-hand side, that's RGB aerial. There's some aerialists from McAllen, and they actually drove all the way to Brownsville to do, what do they call, ambient presentations for the patrons. So that was really cool. We had, of course, the rock wall. We had the sheriff department here. So that was a lot of fun. We had our shark running around, you know, playing with the kids and taking pictures. So it was a lot of fun. Where we were excited about it, and we're already thinking about next year. So is there any questions on the summer reading program?
Y'all are doing a fantastic job. I compliment you on that.
Thank you.
And also not mention that George and I attended that fantastic.
We'll get there.
Okay. I don't want you to get it out because he was great.
No, we're not. And then next month, we're gonna show it off and have it great. But we're getting there. I know where you're going.
So moving on to kind of our regular programming, of course, we've already, you know, begun our planning for the fall. We are making some changes to make it just to kind of expand what we offer. If you guys remembered, we would have art night and science day, and we would differentiate between the two, but now we actually are going to transform it to kids night. So it'll still be twice a month for that, but this just gives us opportunity to kind of expand what we were doing. We were, you know, confined to, oh, we need an art activity, or, oh, it needs to be, you know, some kind of science. This way we can kind of offer more options for the kids. course, we're doing our story times and then our movie nights as normal. And then these are some programming that is in the works. We have Lego days, and then of course, Sarina, who couldn't be here today. She's starting to get to work on the teen nights. So we have teen night and then of course, teen anime club coming up.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And it's just because I have a teenager. What is teen night gonna be?
Teen night is gonna be similar to kids night in that it could mean anything. Our very first teen night is actually gonna be video games. So we're gonna have the Nintendo Switches out and they're going to be able to play Super Smash Brothers. But it could be anything from an art project, a STEM project. And we will advertise the different project every month. It won't be a surprise. They'll know what they're getting into when they get here. But that's pretty much what that's gonna be.
Okay, so more like a social thing, they can interact with each other? Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. If there ever is any service for teens, service events for teens, I'd be interested in that too for I think there'd be kids interested in that.
Yeah, awesome. And then of course, Teen Anime Club, that's gonna be anime and mangas. That's like our graphic novels is always the most messy section because the kids just love the mangas. They'll go in there. So that'll be a lot of fun too.
On story night, would that be an ideal time, say, for maybe Suzanne to present her book?
The story times, yes, that's normally what we do. Yeah. This is something we started actually in the summer. We're doing monthly scavenger hunts. The one we have going on currently is the back to school scavenger hunt. Usually these are just like little images posted around the library. The kids run around and find them, and each one has a letter associated to it, and then they have to fill in the blanks at the bottom. That kind of goes with the riddle. So what's the king of all school supplies? Give you guys a couple seconds to think about it. The ruler is the king of all school supplies. So next month, since it's library card sign up month, we're going to do get to know your library. So this will be, there will be a Southmost specific one and then a main specific one. And this one will actually take them through the different sections of the library. So circulation, DVDs, makerspace. And then this one is what does a librarian take to go fishing? Bookworms. So that'll be that's the answer for this one.
When do these take place? Or does anybody?
They're passive programming, so they're always available at the CERT desk. Parents come and like, oh, I need something to do with my kid. Well, here's a scavenger hunt, and they can do the scavenger.
And the kids' night is at both Main and South Moon?
Yes. Story time on the trail, that's still happening. As far as I'm concerned, I have friends that walk that trail often, so there hasn't been any vandalism lately. But they have been replaced twice. Well, not all of them, but there have been instances where they had to replace or repair. But the next swap is going to be in next month. So we'll switch over into a book on Halloween. It's a Halloween book, I'm trying to remember. So those we do them depending on the season. So we'll have Halloween and then we'll do like a winter one or a Christmas one and then spring, summer, that sort of thing. This for the summer, it was Rocket's beach cleanup. So it was about cleaning the beaches and not littering and that kind of thing. So.
Has the city been better about keeping the grass cut?
Honestly, probably. I mean, I don't know.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I can attest to it, yes, I walk it and.
Yeah. I think I walked it like twice.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I don't walk.
But I do.
Oh, and of course, Dino Zone. We had the unveiling of Dino Zone. It's actually been, I mean, I've been at Maine a couple of times and the kids are loving it. We already had to put a sign in there that says don't climb. But they're just so excited to be in there. They want to touch and feel everything. So, but yeah, it's been going really well. We had the unveiling that I unfortunately was not able to attend. But I heard it went really great.
Excellent, and a job well done to all of you.
Yes.
It was very well done and very well attended.
You had a lot of kids, a lot of parents, but congratulations, it was wonderful.
We've been building up the anticipation, you know, with that giant black curtain that everyone's like, what's behind there? So, I mean, they were excited to see it come down
Is that
see
something
it.
that's going to be staying there or how?
Yes.
For a long time. It's just, quite frankly, it's museum quality. And the most important thing, it was the staff involvement. To be honest with you, that project almost got shot because it was started by previous administration. But once staff members started, you know, I want, give me an opportunity, I got this. And okay, and talking about 2-3 years in the making, but it was like, everybody got involved. You see the video, how it got started with just plain foam to this. It was just staff involvement, staff passion. I didn't put nothing, we're not creative. We just supported the staff. It was a lot of passion and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But it was well worth it when we removed the curtain and the kids like, and so it's just an awesome event, an awesome thing that we need to take pride because it was staff initiated, staff done, and we didn't outsource it. It's all done by staff, and the most important thing, those kids are loving it. And quite frankly, when we have the meeting next week, even next month, you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna wish you did a kid. It just, the picture does not tell you
No.
until you go in there.
It was wonderful. They actually looked like rocks.
Yeah.
I mean, the girls did fantastic.
It's awesome.
Fantastic. Oh, it was wonderful.
All right, and then finally, the rock garden, which is an ongoing project. It's part of the beautification of the courtyard over at Main. We had a really good turnout initially, and so we ran out of rocks. So we purchased more. So that's something that kids can continue to do. If they go into the children's section and say, I want to paint a rock, I want to be a part of it, we have the supplies ready for them and they can decorate their rock. We have a spray on it to make it stand up to the weather, and they can go and place it out into the rock garden themselves. So that's going to be ongoing. We're going to add larger rocks. It'll just be a continued beautification process out there. And I believe that is everything. Are there any questions regarding services? Youth services?
Good job.
Thank you.
George and I waited in line our turn. Yeah, we have to wait in line to get in there. Yeah, we let everybody go in first.
All right, we've come to our item number 8, adjournment. Are there any other? Oh, no, sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry, more services, more services.
Now our turn.
There's 2 more after this.
My name is Courtney Taylor. I'm the Library Services Coordinator, and I'll be presenting on behalf of Jose and Bertha, our Adult Services Librarians, on the continuation project. Next slide, please. So we had the end of our computer classes renditions happen at both Main and Southmost. This group here, as you see pictured, included Jose Gonzalez for here at Southmost. For Southmost, in the month of June, they had over 71 participants and 6 hours of presenting for the classes. Next slide, please. For Main Branch, they had 103 participants, and as you can see, Ms. Bertha continues to help our patrons in learning different services. There we had, for those classes, privacy and security, as well as information literacy for the adult classes. And to give you a rundown of how many happened for the first rendition of us reprogramming back our adult education computer classes, we had over 389 people helped, and when you break it down, it's 60 hours total of education and computer literacy combined for both branches. Next slide, please. These are some of the presentations they were able to do for June. They included Father's Day appreciation event. So like we did the mothers, we were being kind to our fathers and gave out little goodie bags that included mugs, straws, different grilling package event stuff. For that, they had 165 people
And then they did their beach frame to be part of summer reading program, which was a craft event that they had 58 total participants for. Moving into July, we continued our Bring Your Own Book Club. We had a total of 13 for June and 5 for July. We have changed the way this program is going to work for this month, in which we're determining a theme. So the theme for this month is going to be cookbooks. And then they did their beach in a bottle craft event, which they had 48 participants for. They also hosted art classes in conjunction with, what is?
Workforce.
Chemical Workforce, yes. So they were able to help an additional 20 patrons with that. Next slide. And that's adult services in any questions?
I'm very pleased with the adult computer classes. Those are big numbers. So I'm glad to see it again that we're going to continue with that program.
That
we
the
have
adults are
started this-
participating.
Yes.
That's great. I heard a lot of good reports on your computer classes. My wife attended a couple of them, and several people I know, and they were just very satisfied with the time they took to work with them and make them understand, because our experience is zero with computer. I lost the most.
So makerspace updates, I'm gonna take over the presentation on this one. Our makerspace advisors are in a program right now. So the announcement earlier, that was Perler Beads. So that's where they are currently occupied. But we are proud to announce our new makerspace advisor, Anthony Chavarria. He started a few weeks ago and he has just been doing great. He hit the ground running. I mean, he was already doing a lot in that area anyway. So it was such a natural transition from him, and from what we hear from the staff, they're all very proud of him and how he's doing in this new position.
Just to interject, Anthony has been with the library actually for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and for the library as a library. So he started as a part-timer, went on to full-timer, and now he's our makerspace advisor.
So the southmost renovation completed. So the room looks really nice. You guys should go check it out after this. Almost everything that they currently have is in there, but they're going to add, make it more people friendly. This is something that the patrons can walk into. It'll be a desk that is staffed, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it'll be a desk that is staffed, so patrons can go in there and they can, inquire about the equipment. They can use the equipment as it comes in and as they, update the policies for using that equipment. So patrons are excited. They're always peeking into the windows in there and trying to see what's going on.
And as the board will recall, those used to be children's offices and also the children's restrooms were hardly used. And so we repurposed it to what we have now. And again, it's better if we want you, I want to give a tour of the area so you can appreciate what it is.
So they also participated in summer reading. This was their art splash event. They got a really good turnout. This one was, they dipped the balloons in paint and then they threw them at a canvas. And these were actually a way to let the patrons be a part of Makerspace. So they got to put their handprint on the canvas, and these are actually displayed in Makerspace now. So it was a way to get the patrons in there and display what they have going on. And that's it.
I want to do a little bit of spoiler alert. We recently got approved for a grant. Oh, sorry. Now sorry.
Take it back.
Take it back.
Take it back till next month.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Okay, so again, other services, as you know, I like to go outside of the library and see people on the ground at different events. So next slide. We had several fun events, including Jubilee and CB, where we went to promote library services for the Jubilee. We had over 31 patrons. For CBCB, we were able to get 72 patrons, and we got to promote through their low-income housing event there that you can see the modular home that they are promoting in our Southwest area. Next slide, please. We also were part of Cameron Park Summer Reading Program, which Katie and Kayla got to do a story time and craft with them. So they were able to get an additional 14 patrons outreach to, as well as doing interesting craft times to get them to do more motor skills and engage with Cameron Park. Next slide, please. We were able to go to the Housing Authority as part of our Texas Read Grant to promote Carmela Full of Wishes, which is our chosen book for this grant period. We were able to reach over 65 patrons there, and we also promoted our reading list and YouTube page because we did an online reading of this book, and we are giving out copies of this in English and Spanish. Our second event for this will be happening this week, which we will be helping the Housing Authority give out backpacks that also include school supplies and copies of this book as part of that grant. Next slide, please. Again, Children's did an awesome job going to Keller Elementary and were able to help them with another 23 students and interacting. And as you can see, they have a beautiful space there that they had their children crafting all through their library and auditorium. Next slide, please. One of the bigger events we were able to help with was the International Southmost Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant meeting for their community meeting, in which they were able to allow citizens in the Southmost area to give their opinions on what we should be developing within the city, whether or not we need more parks, if we need different types of housing, if we need to put different skating events or other things, really informational to hear what our public really wants from us as a city. And the library was able to promote their services there, as well as give our feedback, because we too are community members here at Southmost, to see what we really are passionate about. And it was interesting to hear everybody's stories about how they view Southmost as a rising community, as a community that needs more resources and diversified resources. We were able to see 61 additional people at this smaller meeting. But remember, again, we previously went to their big promo meeting for the Southmost Planning the month before. Next slide. This outreach was very near and dear to my heart. We went to a book reading for community reflections as part of the Revival Cultural Arts. And we got to hear Mr. Efren speak on his experience with the migration of people in 2018 when they started removing and separating families from their children here, as well as his legal practice both here and in McAllen. If you watched us on Facebook, we did post part of his reading and his integration there. The book is really, really awesome, and it's near and dear to my heart because my own family has some immigration status issues, and we fought against this ourselves. But he spoke about being part of the community, and what you really remember as a child is what your parents do for you and the small things instead of the bigger issues, and how we can really fight and advocate for not just citizenship here in the Valley, but also for humanitarian efforts, and really focusing on the fact that we're all people, and that's what should keep us together. We do have this book as part of our collection, and we are looking into creating a display of local authors, which this will be promoted for as well. Next slide, please. As you are aware, we have been going to the Mexican consulate. We had 2 editions of this, both in June we went and in July we went. And we are increasing this outreach to be twice a month in this month, so that we'll have better advocacy here. Next slide. All right, any questions on outreach, what we're doing with the community? I know the one follow-up that I have for you is we did attempt to contact the mall about giving a table, and we have not heard back from them thus far. I've tried a couple of emails, but I will have to go in person and try and find someone on the ground to see what they would like our locations to be for them.
All right, now.
Now
Now we can move on to adjournment. Are there any other comments? Anything else?
Well, they're doing a wonderful job, the staff, and we've been to a lot of activities and, oh, wow, 100%, more than 100% improvement. Thank you for your efforts, and you can see the results of participation. Overwhelming. Thank you so much for the community.
Question or comment? I just came across that there's actually shopping. There's the Anchorage, that shop, and learning more about what they provide, maybe do something with them.
With addition to our team agreement, from that all, for you, make sure to.
Maybe you might have something to offer to expand on.
Anthony is actually friends with them. I was trying to remember what you were talking about. Anthony is very familiar with them, so I'm sure
Great.
it'll come up.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Just a reminder, our next meeting should be the 12th September.
September 12th.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no more comments, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? A motion to adjourn the meeting. One second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Meeting has been adjourned at 6:24.
Are we gonna get a little tour of the,
No, so I'll make sure we send you I'll make sure we send all the policy line, the red line. So you guys can get that.
have my surgery and had a heart.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm not.